What's wrong with naps?
Naps for old people. I'm young and I'm up.
This country was ruined by Franklin Delano Roosevelt. You're fat.
What is a brewed alcoholic beverage consisting of barley and yeast?
Well, I don't know. Usually you just have a beer.
We probably needed this next guest on when he arrived. He's Senator Aric Putnam. I'm going to get to blow my top a little bit, and he probably won't get too mad at me. Senator, how are you?
I'm doing well, my friend. How about yourself?
Good. This country was ruined by Franklin Delano Roosevelt. I loved Archie Bunker. Did you watch it as a kid?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I totally did. It was a great show.
See, what's killer about that show could never be made that day. We have changed so much that the show that we all kind of like because of the absurdity of what he called his nephew Meathead or whatever, we can't have that anymore. And it's too bad because I love that show. I actually did.
I'm with you on that one, but for different reasons, most likely. Like, to me, what was cool about that show is it was really smart. It was smart, it was subversive, it was satirical. You had to actually watch it and pay attention to actually get it. That's the problem. It has nothing to do with political correctness or wokeness or any of those kinds of things. It's because we're too lazy to watch good shows anymore.
That's probably very true. And Tim Allen, who I liked when he did his first show with the Fix It Up show. I don't know why we're on this topic. But now he came back with He's a Fix It Car Guy show. I wanted so hard to like it. Yeah. I sat through 3 episodes and said, this is just stupid. We've dumbed it down so bad. It's like, soundtrack for laughter, please hit the button. I have a tough time with it. Sorry, Tim. Like Tim Allen. But
all right, let's just talking about TV for the next 30 minutes. If that's what you want to do, that'll work for me.
Well, yeah, because I tell you don't want. I'm in no mood today now, and I'm just going to be quite honest with you. So my friend John, your friend John, gets shot. His wife gets shot. You remember the incident? The Hortmans get killed. I mean, this was a tragedy. Naked guy gets found at the Senate office in the Senate chambers at the Capitol. Just walked himself right in. We had the shooting at the Catholic Church here a week ago, and each and every time we keep telling everybody, let's take a breath. We got to cut the rhetoric down. We got to take measured steps of this. We're smarter than that. And I don't think we are. I think today the news is Governor Tim Walz says he intends to call a special session regardless of whether he's got the votes or not to get anything done as far as student safety proposals go. He's doing it anyway, which I'm sorry, Senator, doesn't that, even those words say straight up, this is just a political move. I know we're not going to get anything done, but darn no, we're going to stand here and be in the paper for the next 5 days making each and every one of them stand up because those Republicans, they want kids shot. You know it. What else are they trying to do? I'm sorry, this is kabuki theater if he calls this without having the votes ahead of time.
So, I guess my take on here, there's a couple different things going on here. One, hope springs eternal. Maybe there's some kind of belief that there could be quality policy that emerges out of something like this. And what Lisa Dame is saying, she wants to have a special session.
She did say that, absolutely.
That's kind of maybe cause for hope. But I would say first off that, theater is our job, unfortunately. That's a percentage of what we do, right? Everything we do is partially theatrical. To me, the goal was to have a ratio of balance of substance to drama. Because there's always going to be drama, but there also should be substance. And I would just like it to be more of a higher percentage on the stuff that matters and a lower percentage on the drama. And I don't know what this special session is going to shake down as, but I think we'll see. And, and the other thing to think about is that a lot of the policies and stuff that I'm hearing batted about are things that people have been trying to do for years. Mm-hmm. And so there's a sense in which, we've been working on this policy for 10 years and now is our chance. I don't like that kind of political opportunism, but again, that's what we do. So I don't know if that's an excuse or what, but I'm saying it's well, and
if I put myself in the governor's shoes, couple of things. You had a tough time when you had the trifecta getting those policies done, right? Those weren't able to move when you owned all 3 segments. So now you have, I would say, momentum. If you take the feelings out, I'm sorry for everyone who's hearing this. Yes, 4 people got shot. Then we had the naked guy, and then we have the school shooting. If you just take the momentum of that People don't like the guns. The gun thing's at the top of the news. We got to get rid of the guns. I see the momentum ball of getting what you wanted happening, but at what cost? We're throwing out civility. And here's what I mean. Those 3 incidences, all 3 different knuckleheads. And I know that's not a medical term, right? Guy number 1 was off bubble, but he was smart enough to order the mask and get a cop outfit and put his car together and look like a cop and come up with a plan. So he's one version of a knucklehead. Then there's naked guy in the Capitol who maybe he's just the smartest homeless guy. I don't know this cat, but he figured out how to bathe in the flipping Senate chambers. I mean, he's not an idiot. And then we have this kid who obviously had issues, and what he did. Can we at least take more than the 10 days or whatever it's been since this and try to bust those 3 things down? Because when I look at the 3 of them, the difference is we've got an issue with mental health. Now, what does that mean? And can we fix that with money? I don't know. But there's something to chat about and not just take away people's guns. And again, I don't own an AR-15. It doesn't affect me, so to speak, but it just seems like we're solving a problem that isn't the problem yet. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does to a certain extent. I mean, I would say that, obviously this isn't the first time any of those 3 things have happened.
Yeah.
So like people have been thinking about these issues for a really long time. And like I said, they've been working on some of the policy too. So I think that there's a sense of like, well, maybe now is finally the time because people are finally going to be fed up. But I honestly don't know that that's necessarily the case. It's obviously tragic, horrible stuff is happening. But to me, the bigger issue, and this is why I do think it takes time, is that you have to look at stuff like this as part of our kind of larger cultural ecology. And I'm sorry for saying something like that on radio, but
especially this show.
When we
a lot of syllables.
Well, so it's not an either or, and we immediately go to this weird either or. It's like, no, we can't do anything about guns. We've got to do mental health. Well, not like do both. Damn it. Like you could do a mass murder with a hammer. And so the issue is not the hammer, but also an AR does a lot more damage than a hammer does. So maybe we should talk about all of those things in the same conversation. And that's what takes time. And
I would agree with you. And again, if we look through this, it could be I don't know why he couldn't have driven his dad's SUV through the same stained glass window we had, but right. My point is nutty people going to do nutty things. We try to limit it. I'm okay with that. But your point, this seems like we're just doing it to do it now. If he doesn't think he has the votes, and again, it's not the money. For whatever reason, we got more money we can shake a stick at. We spent $66 billion. I don't know what it costs to have you all come in from across the state, but I'm pretty sure the guy in Warroad really thrilled about that trip down to spend a couple of days, have to get a hotel room, whatever he's got to do to spend the 3 days to talk about this. I don't know what it costs, but again, it's opportunistic to me. It will make 5 days of the paper if you do it now. If you all waited till February, whatever you guys get back, the 10th, whatever you guys get back, and you talk about it then, it's just part of the regular day. It won't get the front page.
Yeah, and here's my thing, and I've said this to folks in St. Paul, and I'm glad it's just me and you talking and no one's listening because I probably shouldn't say this out loud.
Mom turned the radio off. Now it's just you and me.
But I do have some, I have some concerns about this, even as theater, because the end result is likely to be, well, Republicans just say no to everything and they don't care about anything, and Democrats are incompetent, and that doesn't change anything because that's what most people already believe. So I don't think it's really moving the needle as much as theater. I don't think it's a new show, and that's what bugs me about politics. I'm going to get preachy for a second. I hope.
Okay, please. The stage is yours.
What bugs me about politics is that one, it's the overemphasis on theater, but two, it's so boring. It's so boring because it's so cliche. Like everything every Democrat's ever going to say before they open their trap. Same thing with Republicans. It is so boring. And I think when you think about people being disconnected from politics, part of it is because of that. It's not because of the vitriol or the drama or the people yell at each other. It's because you already know what everyone's going to say before they open their pie hole. And
see, that's where you get to break it down. This is where you get to be my favorite senator. Okay, I'm going to set you up here. You're 100% correct. Every Democrat knows what Republicans say. Republican, but what it does is those two sides get all whooped up. Right, money comes in, we can raise some money, yada yada. What if you came in and just said, I want to bust her all down? Let's just take this thing apart for the last 40 years. What do I mean by that? I think it was 3 years ago. Maybe I get lost. We had school resource officers in, and we decided we didn't like that. It was too copy at school or whatever it was, and we pulled that out. Maybe we need to throw that back on the table and just say, hey, what did it affect? I don't know if I had any idea if it was at a a church school. I don't know if we had them back. I mean, I'm talking out both sides of my mouth. Let's bust this thing down. What is it that would have caught this guy? This guy, in my opinion, the kid, I find remarkable no one knew there wasn't an issue there. Just being a little off bubble. You know what I'm saying? That, you know, the writings and all the rest. We have an issue, in Al's opinion, that there is this stigma that we can't turn people in. If mom thought kid was bad and I tell a cop and said, we need to get him some help, and they get him some help, he may not talk to me anymore. This will brandish him for the rest of his life as a person with a problem. So you end up falling on the side of not. We'll just kind of keep an eye on him. Well, that's where we got to stop. Okay, let's say Al turns his neighbor and says, this guy got an issue, baby. He's just a little off bubble. Kid talks some strange stuff. Go look at him. And they check him out and find out, no, he's just a kid. He thinks he's funny. No harm, no foul, right? Don't put it on his record. Don't say anything. He goes off. He can hate Uncle Al or next door neighbor Al. But if I'm right, this kid isn't allowed to get guns. We have red flag laws in Minnesota. You know, but no one wanted to, can't do it. You know what I'm saying? So let's bust it all down from the beginning. How do we change the idea that if you think this person's nuts, you got to turn them in? And then if you do, you know, we'll work from there. You can't tell me a 21-year-old kid with those kind of followings and somebody didn't see it. Facebook friend or Google or YouTube, you guys, you know, can we bust this down? Go there and break it down and put it in all their faces. We took out school resource officers. Put them back.
Well, no, so a couple things real quick. First, if I like the way you're thinking, but my biggest concern is both you and I get locked up in 10 minutes.
Well, that's you open this door up and everybody's calling on their neighbor because I don't like their cat. No, it's not going to make it easier. It's just it's opening volley, if you'll pardon the
volley. It's really important, though. Just really quick, I'm sorry for talking over you, but
nope.
School resource officers are back. We fixed that. Okay. So there are SROs back in the schools, and that was something I fought really hard on because I believe in them and I think they're great, especially in my community.
Good.
Yeah, right. I think that's one thing we could fix is get more of them.
Get more of them. I don't know if that happens in private schools or Catholic schools. I don't know. Do you know? I don't have any idea. I didn't know they're back. Okay. We can look into it is my only point. Now, does that include mass? I don't know if you can send a cop into mass. But let's open the whole can of worms in. Let's take a look at the whole picture because I think there's more issues with the rest of us not turning those folks in. Yeah. You tell me the naked guy at the Capitol, that was a one-off?
I'm telling you, I'm not going to do it again.
Okay, well, that's
once I'm out. I'm not going to do it again.
One problem solved here at the Al Travis Show. More after this.
Braver Angels Minnesota is part of a national movement that brings together conservatives, liberals, independents, and others to restore trust, respect, and goodwill in politics. We seek not to eliminate our differences, but rather deal with them head on, with respect and understanding. We do not try to change people's views, but how they view the other side. There will always be differences. Braver Angels Minnesota believes the best way forward is to change how we deal with those differences. Join the civil conversation at mn.braverangels.org.
You know that car sound that sounds like a cricket playing a banjo? Jays can fix that. You know when you step on the brakes and your car sounds like a pair of tennis shoes in the dryer? Paul is the guy who specializes in that. And you know that sound that never happens when the mechanic's around? Paul took a whole course on that. If you own a car, you need to know Paul. Paul owns Jay's Auto Shop, 202 North Main Street, Blue Earth, 525-1052, 525-1052.
need to ask him his opinion more than once. Al Travis on The Al Travis Show.
And we've got Senator Aric Putnam on the program with us, and I hold him accountable for everything every Democrat does, so this will be a lot of fun. I believe Governor Walz did. We all had tragedy when the four were shot, but he was very close with Melissa Hortman. I believe that affected him in a lot of ways, and we got to cut everybody a little slack. We're all going to go through that a little differently. I do believe, as governor of Minnesota, you might have to buck up a little quicker than the average. And what I get to, as I chatted with Senator Kent, I think it was a week ago, the governor came out and made some flippant remark about us stupid MAGA folks. You know, how dumb are we? I mean, what's your biggest choices during the day? Which red stupid hat am I going to wear? And what am I going to do today except be cruel? As long as I'm cruel, I'm online. And, you know, who am I going to follow? Just the fastest and the way. And I said, you know, we got to stop. We sit here and say we want to bring the rhetoric down, and this is your fueling the fan of what's going on. He did it again day before yesterday, and he came out and you must have heard that Trump died over the weekend. It's funny. I was out. I was like got a life and stuff and golfing. But when I had heard this rumor, I said, well, turn the news on. If it's not leading the news, it's probably not true. And it wasn't. But the governor came out and was whipping up a crowd. And I get it. They're his people. And they all thought it was a funny joke. We all had the same rumor. Didn't come true this time. But next time, someday we're going to get that. And everybody's clapping. And I think to myself, you had your friend die. We had the 4 shot, the kids shooting, the rest. When do we expect our governor to step up and say, you know what, I'm taking the high road? The idea that someday we'll be happy when we find out Trump is dead is exactly what off-bubble people like the last 3 we've been talking about take and say, hey, it's okay because regular people say this stuff. I can't cut him up much more slack. He's got to pick up his game.
I can't say I totally disagree. I mean, a couple years ago, we can't forget how many people wished that Biden was dead and said that pretty publicly and were pretty aggressive about it. Yep. And we also, and some people thought that he'd been dead for 4 years. So there's that. And there's also, I'm surprised more people aren't excited that Trump was resurrected after 3 days, because that's also apparently something.
Now that's funny. You need to work for Walz. That's a funnier joke than someday we'll get our. I love that. Okay, Putnam, I can take a joke. That's funny. Yeah. Someday we'll get the call and it'll be true is not a funny joke. No, that resurrection after 3 days is rock solid. Okay.
No, I absolutely agree that it's not like the someday he'll die and we'll all be happy. I don't think that's especially cool. But what I'm saying is I'm agreeing with you, and I think we all need to take the high road. And
agreed.
And actually maybe be a little bit funnier too. We were talking about before about boredom. Maybe we could be a little bit more interesting, even with our digs on people. Like maybe we could put a little bit more effort into our criticism too.
I don't disagree, but we're not going to try to pick up the pace on that on this show. I've got enough to do, just get through it. But I do believe it's interesting. Donald Trump is known for taking the low road. I don't think any of us Republicans are even going to argue that. Okay, it's who he is. But your side's, I can't believe he's got to take. Good, someone take the high road and show us wrong. The meeting at the low road just is such a bad look. It's like, well, he said it, so no. Take the high road, show the difference, and I think we have something there. I'm out of time. I appreciate you coming on, taking my. It was a bad day for me. I'm not happy. I don't like the Kabuki theater, and I don't like this stuff. We're going to joke about people dying when we've all been through what we've been through. But I appreciate you being here. And that might be the best joke ever said on the show. That I can live with.
I don't know about
resurrection after 3. That's a good one. Trump even would like that one. He'd say, yeah, I was resurrected after 3 days. He should have came up with that. Got to go. Love you, my brother. Appreciate you being on the program. He's Senator Aric Putnam.